Misery, it seems like, is the only emotion that we've turned into a lifestyle brand, and nobody seems to be asking who profits from this. So we've all heard that comparison is a thief of joy. Well, I'd like to add that complacency is its best friend. So I want to show you something that I came across on Instagram. This was the top comment receiving the most hearts. I'm not rich. I'm irresponsible. It has 4,277 hearts at the time that I took this screenshot. We have people saying, read that again. Well said. That's all of us for real. I love saying this. Okay. Now, I know tons of you already want to be like, oh my goodness, why don't you go touch grass? Like, social media is for fun. Like, it was just a joke. Like, why do you have to be so serious? Okay, I get it. I do. I really do, because I used to be the queen of self-deprecating humor. Actually, I was so bad that when I made my website, I had AI check it out, and it said that I was self-deprecating on my own website. So I get it. But here's the thing. As I was looking at that, I said, now I like to make fun of myself, but do I really want 4,000 people agreeing with my failures online? No, I don't. So people know this, but they don't seem to grasp it for some reason, that social media is public. Now, I'm totally fine with making a joke about myself and having a couple of friends hear me, but like, we're talking the world. So ask yourself, would you say I'm not rich, I'm irresponsible at work, on a date, to somebody whose opinion has like real stakes? Probably not, but it was said to strangers online. Why? Because strangers feel safe. But you still have to say to yourself, wow, I'm the person who said that. The audience doesn't change what the words reveal about yourself. So many people would say that words have power. What you say about yourself is what you believe about yourself. So there is the famous quote that I just want to say right here. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Now, that is simple but epically profound wisdom. But just because you know it or you heard it doesn't mean you live it. So the need to belong is absolutely legitimate. The need to be seen is real, but I don't believe people are choosing comment sections over a dinner table because I think they just don't have a dinner table with friends and family. So you go online for the connection you lack in life. So this is what we need to understand. Loneliness was studied. Our human nature, scientists have grasped this, marketers understand this. Our need for belonging is known by everybody. And so a product was built for it with precision. I went over this in case 009, loneliness is a commodity, that we have the grievance market, the replacement markets, and the market produces at street level. People level, right? So a comment section is full of people co-signing each other's worst habits and calling it solidarity. So these echo chambers are far, far from organic. The responsible friend that you would have in real life, you know, the one who loves you enough to be uncomfortable, they're filtered out by the algorithm. So it's not accidental, it is deliberate, because accountability would kill engagement, but validation keeps you in the same ongoing loop. So people do not go to comment sections to give people accountability. They will validate, they will over-empathize, but rarely will they ever challenge a person. They'll insult you, but that's not the same as challenging, right? There's criticism and then there's constructive criticism. There is challenging somebody up and then there is just fighting somebody. So usually to challenge a person, you either have to know them or be a coach or something, but rarely will a stranger just challenge you. So you remember the slogan, good vibes only? We haven't heard it in a while. I haven't heard it in a while. But I don't think that it disappeared because people grew out of it, but because people internalized it. So now we have people who have internal bouncers called their ego, and they're like, no critique permitted, no friction is tolerated here, please. In a real friend circle, though, there should be somebody who loves you enough to be uncomfortable, not condemn you, but to hold you to something higher than the worst moments that you have in your life. So online, that friend really doesn't exist. The algorithm doesn't surface the person who's going to give you a solid reality check. It surfaces the 5,000 people who made the same exact mistake as you, and they want company too. So we're not having people finding communities. What you're finding is a coalition of complacency. You don't have to feel bad around the people in the comment section because pretty much everybody there is alike. So we've heard of learned helplessness, and I read that performative helplessness is usually viewed as manipulative, but I actually believe that people are performing helplessness from the promotion that being a victim is either cool or acceptable. Like being born in America and feeling like they got the short end of the stick, even though America has one of the greatest standards of living in the world. That right there, I mean, just really looking at it realistically is mass propaganda. We have people acting like they have no capabilities whatsoever, like the glass ceiling has actually been lowered. Jonathan Haidt talks about this in The Coddling of the American Mind. Like human beings were taught that we were super fragile as opposed to being resilient, forgetting that we have collectively survived for thousands of years before running water. So I don't want anybody to feel stupid for being here. I know we're using that word on people a lot, but this was a lot of programming. So I think we just need to see how we got here and the mindset that people are carrying nowadays. So I think that this needs to be said just plainly. We want external validation. We do not want external accountability. So comment sections, they oblige perfectly to this, right? Strangers will give you the validation, but they'll never demand accountability. Real relationships in real life, they should do both, right? So if you had parents, they should both validate you and hold you accountable. Your real friends, they'll be double tapping your wins, right? They'll call you when you are making the same mistake again. The accountability would come with love, whether you want it or not. But online is 100% the user. You get to choose. And the choice that we're making to go online instead of real life reveals something. People want to be seen. They want to be known. They are afraid of being known. And this isn't just like a broke 20-something thing, like, people who put sparkling emojis in their comments. No, this expands beyond gender and generations. It goes into like the no-fault divorce circle, the male and female grievance spaces. Wherever there is a grievance, people will flock to save face because their ego has taken a hit somewhere else. And so they're going to where they know they can get that quick dopamine hit of validation. So it's a different demographics, same exact architecture. The algorithm finds the wound, it builds out a community, and then makes somebody rich off your suffering. Victimhood is, I would say, the most scalable content model ever built. You will always have more company in pain than in your discipline. The numbers will always favor the grievance creator, and that's not an accident. That is architecture that comes from studying human nature. We're always going to look for the lowest common denominator. We're always going to look for the less friction. We're always going to look for what is easy. So these 5,000 people who like your comment in a comment section, they don't know your patterns. They don't know you. They don't know your history, your bank account, your potential. So they have absolutely nothing to lose by agreeing with you, but everything to gain from your engagement. A stranger's like cost absolutely nothing, which means it should be worth nothing as feedback. The people qualified to speak into your life should be the ones who have skin in the game. Everyone else should just literally be background noise with their little notification button. Okay? So people have been talking about a lack of accountability, and many people don't know why we lost it, where it went. Some people do. It's actually really quite simple. We have demonized shame. Now, in addition to that, we have another problem. We redefined it. So when we threw out objective truth, we made ourselves our own authorities, and we also rewrote the dictionary. So I imagine that the dictionary will be a relic right there next to the CD or record player as well. Shame became personal. It became an attack on our identity. I did something wrong quietly became I am something wrong. And that redefinition was quite convenient because if shame is a personal attack, then of course you have every right to reject it. And many people did. But that's not actually what shame is. So shame exists in a community, right? It points to a standard external to ourselves and usually vertical. It doesn't say that something is wrong with the person. It says that there is a bar. And you know it, I know it, the majority of us are just not meeting it. So that means that removing shame wasn't actually liberating at all. What it did was it lowered expectations dressed as compassion, probably more like empathy. But the 5,000 hearts on irresponsibility isn't support then. That means that it is a collective vote to lower the bar. The echo chamber is never neutral. It is always a verdict on what acceptable looks like. And so according to that comment, it is acceptable to be irresponsible. So here's what the comment section did with that need. It actually didn't fill a void. It convinced you that this void, the emptiness, our lifestyle was normal. And then it charged us for the comfort. How? Let me ask you something that I guarantee you won't get in other people's feeds because most people don't like to ask these deep questions. But how much is it costing you to perform this identity of like misery, helplessness, perpetual healing, this constant struggle? Not financially, but characterologically, which is a real word. Who are you becoming for the applause of strangers? Every time you post the dysfunction and then you wait for the hearts to roll in, you're actually practicing this identity. You're rehearsing it. You're making it more of your own. So the audience you crave is not gonna pay that bill. You are, alone, in private, in the life that you actually live, IRL, in real life. And the digital circle, whoever you are following or somebody following you, it's either pulling you up or setting the ceiling, okay? There is no neutral. So following people who think just like you instead of challenging you will leave you complaining with the same people at the bottom. And that's not real community because misery loves company and now misery is a vibe. But being a victim is not cute, never has been. Everybody wants to be successful and they want to be happy, so then you have to ask, why aren't you fighting for it? You only have one life. So stop spending it with strangers who won't even applaud you for getting out as well, because that's exactly when they're going to cancel you. This is when you realize that your friends are only your friends in your suffering because they're like, oh, our lives suck, your lives suck. We can talk about how our lives suck together. The second you say, hey, I'm going to do better, peace out, they're gone. So misery doesn't just love company, it actually needs it. Because if everybody around you is drowning, then drowning becomes the new normal. And then everybody will be like, hey, at least we're not drowning alone. But I actually don't believe that people were born to just be normal. I believe that we're born for a standard. So you have two choices. I call them the crossroads, okay? People are claiming that they are victims of their environment. Well, I believe that everyone simply needs to hear the truth. And then it is their responsibility what they will do with this newfound information. Okay, Anton Chekhov, he has this great quote that I love. Knowledge is of no value unless you put it into practice. So I have mapped 2 roads to just not leave you hanging here. Road 1, you stay where you are. You remain miserable. Nothing changes except the calendar, the months and the years fly by, right? And so if you thought that you were a product of your environment now, whatever happens in this country, whatever decisions get made that affect your life, you'll have had no say in it whatsoever because you were in the comment section. You were in the choir. You were performing and not participating in life. So 5 years from now may not necessarily be like dramatically worse because that's usually not how it works. It's not really like there's a visible crash or like you have this, early or midlife crisis per se. It'll be like just a regular Tuesday. You'll be sitting there thinking and asking where your life went. You'll be like, what have I done? And the answer will be that you spent it in a comment section. You spent it scrolling, trauma dumps, the performative helplessness dressed as self-awareness and authenticity. And by then, your mask will be so permanently fixed to your face, you won't even know the person underneath it. You'll have mastered performing your identity, and you'll be exhausted, but you'll be too tired to change. Here's the thing about trauma dumping. It might feel like a release. I've heard that it's cathartic, but if you keep emptying all your feelings out without ever filling up, you then just become hollow, and then your echo chamber will give you absolutely nothing to fill up on. It will just, hand you back the same script, and you'll just keep rereading it. So that is road 1. If it sounded depressing, that's because it is. Road 2, you actually get up. But there's a reason why a lot of people don't choose this, and that's why you need to understand what it means to choose this. Community comes with obligations, standards. The safety of being known has a price, and that price is constructive feedback. Community, the nature of community means you will not be alone. You will be with other people. There will be friction. The person who loves you enough to say, I've watched this pattern, I've seen you do this, and I'm not giving my stamp of approval on it. And you're gonna care. You're not gonna be like, oh, who are you? No. You're gonna care that this person doesn't give their stamp of approval. That's not punishment. That's accountability. And real accountability is just love with enough respect attached to tell you the truth. So you're going to have to stop waiting for somebody to clap you on the back. This is the road where many wins are silent, right? They come without applause. They come without hearts. They come without a single notification bell. You will do the right thing, and not a single person will know but yourself. You will make the hard choice, and the comment section will be quiet or non-existent. And that is the point. That is how you will know it's real. It's not a fabrication. It's not an illusion. What you build on that road, nobody can double tap or take their heart away, okay? So don't let corporate interest and algorithmic marketers package up victimhood and make you feel like that's the only option out there. They studied you. They mapped your loneliness and your need to be seen. They built these echo chambers on purpose. You were the target, but you don't have to be the consumer of what they are selling. The choice is yours. You only have one life. Make it a good one.
Join me on the floor and let's see what you can do. Is it just for show? Say, girl, can that body move?